Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. No intro today because I want to apologise because I was griefing all these three in the chat saying, listen, I'm the only one here tonight. All these are late, and it turns out I sent the wrong link. So they were sat in yesterday's watch-along waiting for me to pop in there. So, that was never going to happen. So apologies to these three and apologies to yous for being late. It's my fault. 250 people already in the chats, which is amazing. So thank you, everyone. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to this channel and, of course, the rest of the guest channel as well, which are all in the description. Chris isn't with us tonight. Rocco's in Italy, I think, and Max... I don't know. He's just not here. I think maybe Mother's Day might be doing something there. Oh, check that out. We've got fan club going, mate. Love it. Love it. We've got loads to talk about today, of course, because Leeds United won another game of football. Leeds United are getting nosebleeds in 14th. It's time to dust off the passport, I think. We're going on a European charge. And Wolves. We can talk about Wolves and their absolute just meltdown that was talking about corruption and everything. It's been quite a good 24 hours. So, Joe, I'm going to come to you. You can kick us off, mate. How are you feeling, mate? Because I know you actually tweeted me almost instantly after the game saying I didn't enjoy it. The nerves weren't great, but we won a game of football.
I don't need to enjoy it. Let's be honest. Exactly. Right now, as we said this last week, it needs to be effective football over fancy football. And I think there was moments of very nice football during the game. I think we're getting better at our short passing. There's still essences of Jesse still there when we panic, and Mark Rocket being a prime example of kick the ball away as quick as I can get it. But there's less of it, which is great to see. Really positive. I'm going to say something, and because I'm being fair here. I'll give Jack Harrison an awful lot of stick over the last couple of weeks. Thought he was excellent. Thought he was absolutely excellent.
I agree.
Not just what he did on the ball, the amount of work he got through off the pitch. And in other weeks, you did see players go off the pitch for some of the kicks that he got. He was in a bad way, but he was absolutely fantastic. And I thought he worked his socks off. That doesn't excuse all the other performances. I got retweeted yesterday by someone saying, all the Jack Harrison haters, look at this, embarrassing. Just because he played well yesterday doesn't excuse the previous month's games. But I hope this is the Jack Harrison we get at the end of the season, because this is the Jack Harrison that we need. He put a couple of really good crosses in that we didn't get on the end of, which was a shame. But I thought he was just left-hand side, right-hand side. And even when he went into the 10 for a bit in the second half, I thought he was brilliant in there. So really happy. And I said it last week, don't look at the position of the table. Just keep an eye on the points. And look where we are. So it's going the right way.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And, I don't know if you've noticed just on that. I don't know if this is a new thing, but I've only just noticed on Twitter. It now tells you how many times your tweet has been bookmarked. Yeah. And I noticed because yesterday, when I made that claim that a new manager comes in, this instantly turns around, and I got loads of stick for it. So much so that when I went back to find the tweet, because, I like to rub it in when I'm right, I'd muted the conversation. It said muted convo, so I thought I must have got battered. But there was a fair few bookmarks on it. And I thought, where are them bookmarks now? I wish I could find the people. Like, I wish it told you you'd actually bookmarked it. I'd be saying, you bookmarked this, have you?
Because I was one of them, Joe.
Yeah, probably.
It's the people that come back at you and say, oh, you were wrong. They don't have an opinion 99% of the time. They don't say a word. They just sit there, faceless accounts with silly names, and just sit there quietly hiding in the background, waiting for someone who hasn't scored a goal in 18 months to score a goal. No, see, told you he was great. Like, no, he wasn't. So, silly.
Hey, Joe, I've got to add, man. We did our Berardi and Coke this morning, and like usually it's like pulling teeth trying to get somebody to come on. Oh, there was 4 of us on this morning, but yeah, it's I publicly apologise. I don't think for I mean, I have been saying how shit Jack has. I know I've been quite open about it because there's no 2 ways about it. It has been gash. You know what I mean? But look, I also said on the back of his goal and assist last week, his performance was awful. But I also said that could breed a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And look,
exactly.
I think he he did play well at the weekend, and I even went as far as saying he's the type of character we want at Leeds after saying I wanted to sell him last week because you know, he goes off, he had stitches in his thigh, in his shin, and comes back on. That's unheard of in football these days, you know. And that's the type of character that is side before self. And look, he got through a lot of work yesterday and played very, very well.
He did, mate. He did.
Yeah, you've got to be able to say when someone's had a bad game. You can't you can't ignore it until. And again, some the Rasmus stuff there as well. You can't ignore what's gone before that. You know?
And there's been quite a few bad games, hasn't there? Do you know what I mean? So you kind of like, you know, we've sort of been vindicated saying that. But you know, credit where it's due. He played really, really well. And for me, yesterday, the confidence of the whole team just seemed like elevated compared to what it has been. They just seemed to believe in what they were doing, and actually we had less chances than they did, but we made the most of them, which is something that we haven't been doing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Go on.
Yeah, it was amazing to have a bit of clinicality. I know it's a made up word, but I always say clinicality. But it was nice to see Leeds United be clinical for a change. Rodrigo, I mean, I want to have a chat about Rodrigo later on, but when he came on, I was a bit like, oh no, are we getting the pre-Jesse Rodrigo back? And then, listen, he was put through. First chance.
I was more scared when Rasmus came on for Nonto.
Oh, I know,
right? I was like,
why?
Yeah.
I thought
what an inspired change, though, right?
I know.
22
As a manager, that couldn't have got any more perfect. No. You know
there was the other side to it, though. Like, I didn't think Wolves were causing our back four any major problems. I thought they had a lot of the ball, but without causing us huge problems. When Rasmus came on and we changed to a back five, I think Javi got that wrong. I think because all of a sudden we looked really flat at the back. There was diagonal balls going over the back and we were getting caught every single time. Their width came into the game way more than I had beforehand. I just thought change to a 5-3-2. Second time he's done it. Don't think it works, especially with the three that he has in there. It's not a criticism of Rasmus. I thought he was okay. Barris foul throw. I thought he was okay when he came on. It's great to see him scoring as well. Yeah. But I did think Javi got that tactical change wrong, and I think we probably got away with it a bit.
I think the difficulty in that one, Joe, was they brought Traore on and he was up against Firpo, was on a yellow card. And I think that just sort of neutralised everything Firpo's about, you know, throwing himself about and against somebody like Traore, you need to get into him early and let him know you're there, because otherwise you'll have a field day, which he did. And he's not a great player. He's not a great player. He's just a fast player, fast and strong player. And he caused Firpo a number of problems, and Struijk when he came on, because Struijk's a bit of a slug in comparison. I mean, he is in comparison to somebody like Traore, but I mean, I think you're right in that he got the formation wrong in parts, but I think had Firpo not been on a yellow card, that sort of formation might have worked a little bit better.
Potentially. Do you know what I want to talk about as well? And I think a lot of us can do this. Well, I can only speak for myself, but I know I've heard not people on here say it, but I've heard other content creators say it, and that's not digging them out because I've said it myself. But we sometimes question the mentality of this squad. And, you know, there was a stat put out yesterday, and Luke Ayling did an interview on TalkSport, and he spoke about how Leeds had been here before, and, you know, we know what it takes. And now, Chris from LUFC Data put a stat out, and it said Leeds have now won each of their last 4 Premier League games when starting the day in the relegation zone. And that really shows for me the mental fortitude that they do have, because they've gone into that game in 19th and games before whenever we've been in the relegation zone and won every single one. So I had to sort of have a conversation with myself to say, do you know what, actually? They have been down there, and you might look at someone like Palace and you might look at newly promoted teams like Bournemouth and Forest and say, do you know what? They haven't had what we had last year. They haven't had that last day staying up, going to Brentford with everything on the line and coming through it, you know? And I just want to give props to them, because they showed yesterday, again, 19th in the table, bang. They go, and I mean, okay, the performance, you could argue Wolves might have shaded it at times, but ultimately the scoreline says we demolished Wolves, and you know, we scored 4 goals away from home, first win since October, and that was against Liverpool. For me, I just think they deserve massive credit for going there and doing what they've done.
They do. Yeah, I think. And also, sorry,
go on, Kate.
No, I was just going to say, and also you got to remember, I think I forget as well that, you know, they've gone through quite a big upheaval, haven't they? They've lost Jesse with that massive, that sort of real sort of intense style of play. they've now got another guy in, mid-season, and they've had to learn. Well, they're learning how to play differently, and I think it's very easy to sort of knock them, isn't it? And I'm as bad as the rest of them. But Bamford played amazingly yesterday, I thought, personally. So, I think that it's
it's lovely to see
a lot. Yeah.
It is.
There's a couple of things about Bamford that bugged me yesterday, though. He did.
No, it wasn't. I didn't mean amazingly.
Well.
That was a
wrong. I thought he was good. I thought he was good.
I thought it was good. I think it was amazing, but he was very good.
No, he was. He held the ball up really well. He does it across the line really well. They're just. Yeah. I don't know if this is a new thing or I've just started to notice it. He's moaning a lot on the pitch.
No, it's not a new thing.
Screaming at the players. There was one point where he turned around to Aronson and he just threw his arms up in the air and he did this. And if he hadn't, the ball would have come directly back to where he was, but he wasn't watching the game and he was giving out to Aronson. The ball hadn't gone out of play and then the ball went right past where he had been. And if he kept playing, he'd have got the ball and would have got in. I'm taking free kicks. Don't.
No.
No, that was brutal, wasn't it?
Wrong side of the pitch, wrong foot, wrong player. But not taking away from his performance, but there's just little. I heard a lot of things this week about he's a very loud voice in the dressing room, apparently, and a very influential figure in the dressing room. But I don't know if that's gone to his head a little bit, and he's just starting to dig out the young fellas a bit. I
said that. I did mention that in my video, and the fact that he's been behaving like a diva. I mean, that's what he is, isn't he? He was bitching at Tyler Adams last week, against Brighton, wasn't he? And it's just become noticeable that that's the sort of behavior he's going to get. I think it has gone to his head, to be honest, Jad. Do you know what I mean?
I'm waiting for him and Vobert to really get into it on the pitch because he keeps having a pop back at Vobert, and Vobert started to have a go back at him now. And it's been a couple of games in a row where you can see the two of them meet in the middle of the pitch and they're pointing at each other, and there's all this going on. And I'm waiting on Vobert.
I've not noticed any of this. I have to be brutally honest. I have not noticed any of it.
I watch him an awful lot.
You mean you haven't watched my videos, Luke?
I'm at the game and it takes a long time to get home. I mean, I do watch him when I get a bit of time. I do, honestly. But no, I just...
You're not missing anything, really.
And just to elaborate, firstly on what Joe said about the character and everything, I think I'm going to eat a bit of humble pie here because I quite publicly said that I didn't believe this squad in the state we're in had it in them to be in a relegation battle. Young players, new players, looked like they didn't care. They were almost. You could almost say down tools probably a month or two ago.
I feel last week was like that.
Yeah, and in terms of the character, but just on your Bamford point, Kate, I think he did play well yesterday, and he didn't do anything spectacularly. What he did do, he put their centre-backs under a lot of pressure and put his body in front of them and made them work to get to every ball. And a centre-back hates that as any level of football. A centre-forward who's putting himself about. And we noticed when Rodrigo came on, and albeit he scored.
Massive drop-off, Luke.
Massive drop-off. Massive. But we did also shift formation as well around about the same time. But Rodrigo doesn't offer the same thing that he likes to run in behind and he likes the ball to his side, and it's completely... Bamford will stand with his back into two defenders if he could. He just likes that little bit of sort of needle, and that's what I like about him. But he's hopefully we're getting back to his best. We've seen some of his touches and some of his finishes. We know he's a good player. But it's certainly something I hadn't picked up on Jer and Kate. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that next time.
I thought he gave Dawson an awful time, though. Like, Dawson was looking to stay on the pitch in the first half. And Bamford just... I think I said it in my preview to the video. I reckon we could get at Wolves at Dawson. I thought he was the weak link in their back four. And it proved to be the case. I think Bamford just bullied him and just played him. He knew he was going to come through the back if he was trying to win the ball. And he just kept making himself big and sticking his arse out and backing into him just to, force fouls.
There was a lot of fouls on him.
Really well. Huge amount of fouls.
There was a lot of fouls, but they didn't get blown very often.
No. He goes down a little bit too easy, I think, at times, and maybe that goes against him. But he does cause them a lot of problems. And I thought in the first half especially, I thought he was really, really good at upsetting their back line.
Yeah, I thought he caused problems all day, to be fair, for their defenders. Just on Leeds United as well, before we just speak about some individual players. Leeds United, since Gracia has come in, we have only lost one game of football in the Premier League. 1-2 and drew 1. 7 points. We're actually seventh in the form table since he's come in. I know it's only 4 games. I know it's a small, amount of detail, but if we continue in this vein, and I had a look at the fixtures earlier on, like April's so kind to us. April is so kind to us. Like, get Arsenal out of the way. We've got 3 home games on the spin, and 2 of them are against Nottingham Forest and Palace. Yes, Liverpool's one of them, but let's be honest. Liverpool, I've already written the Arsenal one off, but Liverpool at home, I'm like, you know what? Let's have it. I'm not too concerned about them.
Definitely.
And then you've got Leicester, you've got Bournemouth. It is so kind to us. So, if we continue in this vein, we'll make 12th ours, because I think the gap between 12th and 11th, 14th and 13th is a bit too big. So I think that we're in probably the highest position we're going to be in between now and the end of the season. But it's been such a turnaround in 4 games, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing noticeable is that we haven't got a set way of playing, and we actually set up differently in every single game. I don't think I've seen us set up the similarly in any game yet. Yesterday was a mixture of pressing and sort of a mid block, even it's often a low block sometimes, but or sitting deep, however you want to dress it up. It's all pretty much the same stuff in it, But it was nice to see the pressing back in, because we put them under a lot of pressure when we did, and it was. Joe mentioned about Dawson having a torrid time. We did seem to press him particularly. We let sort of Kilman have the ball at his feet, and when Dawson had sort of, his face to even slightly to go, we'd press him, and it put him under a lot of pressure with Aronson and Bamford, who did it really, really well yesterday. And it's nice to see that. One thing I said earlier on OKB was, it's nice to have something different to attack with in defence, because if you can only line up and defend in a particular style and way, how can you change that for every team you're going to play? It's almost, you're one-dimensional.
Do you think? Can I just interrupt? Can I just ask you if you think that'll change if we stay up and Javi stays? What do you think that'll change? Sort of, prepping for each game sort of differently, or is it potentially setting up for each game differently?
I think defensively, I think that will stay very similar. I think the only thing that might change is if Gracia stays, if we stay up, Gracia stays anyway. I think he's earned it for me. I think we probably look at probably recruitment on his behalf and setting up differently, maybe different attacking ways and different styles and
more of a consistent style. Do you think? Or would it still continue to sort of?
No. In defence, I think it'd be the same. I think we'll set up completely completely different regardless of opposition. Sometimes we'll sit deeper. Sometimes we'll play sort of a little bit more towards the midfield, and sometimes we'll press a little bit more often, like we did at the weekend. So, it's nice to see. It is nice to see that we've got a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and even onward rather than plan A.
I think the good thing about Gracia for me is he's assessed what he's got. He knows their limitations, and he said, right, this is how we're going to play. He's not coming with a one shoe fits all. That's why Bielsa never does mid-season, you know what I mean? Because he needs to have his ideas across. And listen, I'm Bielsa's biggest fan, but he was one-dimensional, like Luke says. And then you had Jesse, who was one-dimensional but rubbish. And now we it's true though. It is true. But now we have a guy that is willing to switch it up. And if you look at the difference, like Luke touched on, the difference between how we set up defensively against Brighton to what we did against Wolves, it's chalk and cheese. And the way, like you say, Kilman's very good on the ball. We've seen that in our box, man. He nearly beat about 3 players. I thought he was going to score. He used to be futsal, didn't he, like Skubala? And then we're pressing Dawson because we know on the ball he's not that good. I think it's great. And you know what? I love the man as well. Like, you know me, I'm very emotional. Like, that's
he's lovely,
how I am as
isn't
a fan. Yeah, he just comes across beautifully, man.
It's so humble. He comes across humble, kind, and just like a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's going to
see another Bielsa loving part 2. Then
it looks like, mate. I was just going to say, you might see me crying once he gets the boot. Why has he done it? Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about him. I mean, Luke touched on it there, Joe, and I've been asked it a few times in my videos. If a lot of people are saying, if we stay up comfortably, you give him the job. If we stay up by the skin of our teeth, you move him on. But I think personally, regardless, if we stay up, he deserves a chance. You can't be saying to him, right, on your bike.
Considering what he inherited.
Yeah,
I think if we stay up, he deserves at least a crack at the first half of the season, And I don't think we'll be in the same position because what he has proven, and it's this, and what Luke was saying there is there's a plan A, B, and C, but it's a different plan A, B, and C for different teams. But there is multiple plans for multiple teams when he plays them, and I think there's a huge due diligence that he's doing there. There was bits in his press conference this week that I really liked. It was the first time I felt that he opened up a bit more than he has normally. He showed a bit more passion in the interview, like he talked constantly about how much he believes in these players and believes in this squad, and it's great to hear that. But then when they asked him how he dealt with stress, I just heard Marcelo Bielsa talking back through the camera. Like all I heard was, I live stress. It's in here with me. But what do you do to relieve the stress? Well, I don't. I spend 12 hours in Thorpe Arch and then I'm out on the pitch, a couple of hours in the hotel, speak to my family, back on the pitch. So that sounds very familiar. I wonder is he partaking of the beds that Bielsa put into Thorpe Arch for a nap every now and then? But that's what you need. Look, and I think if we stay up, regardless of this, he's proven the Premier League with a pre-season, he can put a good side together and get a good run. I have no issue with the guy getting it. The fear that I have is the club do something stupid and reactive at the end of the season, and they go for Iriola or they go for Gallardo or they go for one of the people that they are slot, one of the people that they really wanted the last time they make a move for them. Now, I think that would look bad as the optics don't look great on that. And I think Leeds fans have an issue with that, no matter how good the coach is coming in. But I think he's done enough to earn the respect of the fans. He's done enough to show that he's a clever coach. But like, as I said, right now, there's times I don't love the first half, especially. I didn't love it. Second half, different game. And it's great to see when you look at the first half of the game and it's sit in, be tight, be compact, limit their chances, limit what they have. Second half, all of a sudden, we just went, boom, let's get at them straight away. First 5-10 minutes, second half, a different side. And I like that. I like that we can expect different things in the game. And second half was outside of the 20 minutes where we nearly bottled it. But outside of that 20 minutes, I thought the rest of the half was brilliant.
Yeah. No, it was. You're right.
It's completely him.
Yeah. And just on them other managers you've mentioned, I feel like Slot is going to go elsewhere. I think he's that good. I think you could even see him linked with Tottenham. Tottenham missed out on Ten Hag. Maybe they move for Slot. You don't know. I think Iriola. I think
there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think Rayo Vallecano have won a game since February. Not since that link.
Feyenoord are also off top of the league as well. They dropped to second now. And Ajax, who were 15 points behind them, have gone ahead of them.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go then. So, although they beat Ajax today, didn't they? So maybe
we're going ahead of them again. Then maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, listen. I just want to say as well, breaking news: Rasmus Christensen has been called up to the Denmark squad because he initially wasn't. Right?
I'm getting called up. I want to stay for the next 2 weeks and work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I was buzzing for him as well because he just went wild.
My favorite thing that I saw this weekend was your reaction.
Was what? Sorry.
I was going to say. Sorry. Go.
No. Sorry, I was just going to say that he hasn't been happy really recently, has he? I mean, there's been rumours about him wanting to leave because he's not getting regular game time. So,
because there was a bit that came out during the week that Gracia said at his press conference that he comes in with a great attitude. He's always smiling and helping. Then when we didn't have a centre back for Fulham, he was the first person to put his hand up and say, "I'll play anywhere. I'll do a job for the team." And that's the whole side before self thing. So I was like, that's great to see that.
Yeah.
And I still think he'll be a decent fullback in maybe a year's time. I think he needs time. Premier League's a tough league. Not every player adapts the same way, and there's a lot of pressure in Leeds at the moment coming into that. Adapting to a different system, a different manager, changing everything around. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be a decent fullback. But
Junior Firpo's a great example of that.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Give him time.
Yeah.
We're always in a rush to get rid of players that don't hit the ground running straight away. It's never a case of, well, let him on the bench for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, or give him time on and off the bench to get used to it. It's always, he's crap, get rid of him. I was like, no, don't stop getting rid of people. We don't have enough cover in these positions.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to get better, but don't be in a rush to ship people out of the club. I just think it's crazy. Joe, my favorite thing I saw this weekend was your reaction to Rasmus's goal. It's brilliant. It's just outstanding.
Cheers.
Joe's reactions to all those goals yesterday were amazing.
It was like surprise. Shock and joy at the same time.
Yeah. I was like, Rasmus. I couldn't believe it, man. I genuinely was shocked because, like with everyone, let's talk about that then. Do we, Luke? You mentioned it. Like Were you at the game, Luke, this weekend?
I was, mate. Yeah,
you was. You're right. Okay. So, what was the general? Because the away day, the videos I've looked, it looked like a brilliant away day. I can't lie. But in the ground, like how? Let's talk about that change and also them coming back to 3-2. Because I was convinced. I was thinking they're going to do what we did to them. How was the nerves in Molineux, mate?
It was exactly how you felt at 3-0 up. There was, you know, we were singing, "Is this a fire drill?" They had fans leaving. It was mental, honestly. That was at 62 minutes, 61 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Half hour left. You know, they got two. I don't even know. I mean, we've all seen their goals. They were freak goals. Yeah, from our own mistakes. Suddenly get the wind back up, and I'd honestly probably say that's the loudest away stadium I've been to this season, certainly from memory. When they got it back to 3-2, the place went up. Honestly, it was so loud in there. And then obviously everything. Honestly, needle between fans all the way through. The corner I was in was literally right in their top stand, and literally none of them were looking at each other. They were just looking at the fact each other, not watching the football, just giving each other, you know. Great. It's a funny atmosphere at Molineux. I don't know if you've ever been, but they put you on the bottom stand, and it's a long old stand. So you start hearing sort of chants and that down one end, and it doesn't carry to the other end until sort of 2 minutes later. So you can't really get a massive atmosphere apart from your little section going. But it was a good day, but I pretty much said those exact words, Joe. At 3-2, I muttered to my mate at the side of me, says, "This is only going one way." And we didn't collapse. We didn't collapse.
Yeah.
His character.
Yeah. That's the difference.
Someone's had not had a pop up. Mark has commented on Meslier doing Superman and being hit by kryptonite. That goal is not Melier's fault. That goal is Roca's fault.
No.
Roca has so
I don't even think it's Roca's fault.
Well,
I don't even think it's Roca's fault.
You think how much time Roca had? If you look at that goal, when the ball comes out to Roca, there's nobody around him. He can take that ball down, take it in, turn, and without looking, just fix it away, and your man hits it first time.
For me, Joe, in hindsight, it's very easy to see that with replays and seeing it, on a telly. Roca has seen his keeper off the line that far. He just wants the ball as far away as fucking possible. He's tried to put his foot through it. He's made a mistake. He's sliced it. And let's be honest, 99 times out of 100, that ball doesn't hit the back of the net from Johnny Otto.
Yeah. There's two things with their goal. There was the two issues there with that one, right? I think Meslier does exactly what he's supposed to, and he gets a decent distance on the header as well. And then, what happens. But the second goal as well, McKennie is marking Kuna on the edge of the box, and Kuna just runs off, and McKennie doesn't move. He stays on the edge of the box, and that's when he picks up the ball free, and he gets the ball, he's about 10 yards away from McKennie. And again, look, it's hindsight looking back, but when you're in those positions on the edge of your box, you've got to stick with your man. You've got to mark the player you're marking, and you can't give them any space. So both those goals, I think, there are things that Leeds can work on. It's just, and again, I think the Rocket thing is probably a hangover from the Jesse system of get rid of it, get rid of it. But that's
putting it into an area where he believed Luke was, I felt.
Yeah. But they're not system errors. They're not tactical errors. They're not systematic errors. They're individual things, and individual things you can always fix and you can clear up. If it's system stuff, it's a bigger problem. But two mistakes.
I do find it wild that people do question Meslier. Like even on my watch along yesterday.
I think it's great.
Yeah, people were saying, "Oh, he's rubbish," and I was going, "What?" And then
saves yesterday.
Yeah, and then they scored, and everyone were going, "Yeah, I told you he's rubbish." I was going, "That's not his fault." But over the course of the game, like you mentioned, he made some great saves, didn't he, Kate?
Very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a massive fan of his, and I have said before that if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have got through some of the games that we have, or the damage would have been a lot worse. He just come in for a lot of flat, but he's a young guy. Right. He's a really young guy. The very fact that some top clubs, I think it's like Chelsea and whatever, are interested in him. He's great, and he's got a really good attitude. Old head on young shoulders, hasn't he? Much, and I think he steps up to the plate. He's calm, and it wasn't his fault yesterday. And don't forget that deflection came off Obi yesterday, didn't it? Goal.
Keepers make mistakes, and look, they can't do right for wrong sometimes. A lot of those that where he's beaten early, his front post and things like that. And the goal against the second goal for Scum was it Sancho where it's a bit weak goalkeeping. Yeah. That's that's experience. You know, that'll come.
Sure.
Most good goalkeepers don't sort of excel until their late 20s. You know, and they start playing the best football. We've got a real gem in Mesley. I hope he's here for a long, long time to come. I think he's got credit in the bank. He's made some really important saves throughout his time here in general, not even just this season alone. But he's a fantastic part of this squad, and I think he's, you know, we'd be daft to get rid of somebody of that caliber.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree completely. Right, let's talk.
Do you think he'll stay? Sorry, do you think he'll stay?
I think he's got a price. I think all our squad's got a price.
Oh, if we stay up, he's not ready to go yet. He's not ready to
go down. I think he'll go. But
100%. Yeah, I think I remember Chelsea approached him when he'd just broken into the FC Lorient team, and he turned it down at that time. And he was a younger lad then. You know, when did he come up? 18, 19? 19 would he have been? He's 21 now. Yeah, so maybe about 19. But he turned down and moved to Chelsea at that age because he'd only broken into the side. So I don't see him, moving as of yet. I genuinely don't. I think he stays for a few seasons. But I think the one thing in the back of my mind, I look at Man United, De Gea, I look at Tottenham and Lloris. I look at Chelsea, and they're probably going to want an improvement on Kepa and Mendy. And I think they're going to want keepers. Now, obviously, David Raya keeps getting mentioned at Brentford, and I don't think he signed a new deal, so that's one. But Melly is not too far away, So, yeah, not yet, though. Not yet.
No.
Clarkson's not the one, though, for sure.
No, we
need someone else.
I think the club know that as well. The fact that Robles is number 2 now means...
Yeah. Just in case we do have any Wolves fans in, let's talk about the referee. Let's talk about the referee, because I think he got a lot wrong for both sides.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I think he got some things right that Wolves fans will say were wrong, and vice versa. Let's start with probably the most... Well, there's 2 contentious decisions. There's a penalty for them, but there's also our 4th goal. Now, I felt on the 4th goal... Now, of course, I'm a Leeds fan, so I hope you might disagree, and I get it, but I felt like there wasn't enough in the shirt pull of Traore because ultimately he stopped himself. He then still got to the ball and then was muscled off it by Somerville, who is basically the same weight as one of his biceps. So I don't know how he managed to get muscled off it. So I think for me, you heard the commentary by the Wolves.
The pro Wolves guy. Oh my God.
The international radio commentary, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Man.
Did they Wolves have a penalty shout? Did they have a penalty shout?
If only they'd have gone to the screen. That's all he said throughout. But yeah, let's talk about the 4th goal first before we do talk about the penalty. Who wants to start us off? Go on then, Joe.
Play to the whistle.
Yeah.
You're told that when you're 7.
From 4. Yeah.
Play to the whistle. It's 7 over here, Luke. We're a bit slower getting there. 4 in the UK, 7 over here. Play to the whistle. For me, Troy stopped before the short pull. He stops, looks at the ref, then he goes a little. It's that. It's not even a pull. It's a flick. It's not. I would have thought, and I was actually, as they were going to VR, I was like, oh, here we go. That's going to get ruled out. Typical now. They'll get a third, then it'll be a draw. Yeah, and this is typical Leeds now. Watch, and I was delighted when it wasn't given because it was soft.
Same.
Because there's one in the first half as well. I think it's either Vober or Bamford is having the shirt pulled off him from a corner.
Yes,
like it's actually
I noticed that.
If that's a free kick, that's a penalty, and that's the way it is for me. So no, I would say it's soft. I think if I was a Leeds player, if it was happened to Leeds, I'd probably be screaming at the television. But I'm sorry, screaming at the radio. But no, it's not a free kick.
Leeds have had worse done to them.
He's a big guy. He covers his arms in Vaseline so he can't grab hold. And someone pulls his jersey.
In what?
He's like,
he covers his arms in what?
Vaseline. Do you not see him? He oils his arms so they can't grab him.
I thought it was like baby oil or something.
No,
what did you think?
Baby oil or Vaseline, but I
don't know what he said.
Anyway.
I wonder what Vaseline was.
Greased me up on the sideline.
I thought he said gasoline to start.
Vaseline. Yeah, and I saw him coming on. He's rubbing the stuff on his arms.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah,
just to make him look like even more buff.
And so,
I mean, he's a big lad.
Ironically, so people can't grab him because he's slippy. You know what I mean? And then they grab him anyway.
Yeah, if that for me, if that is a foul, there's about an additional 150 fouls per 90 minutes in a game of football.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're never blown in the box. They never give them. They sometimes are outside the box, which doesn't sort of it doesn't reflect on sort of consistency and whatever else. But yeah, for me, I mean, like you say, Joe, I'm with you. If that's against us and we lose 4-2 or 3-2 or whatever else, and that's the deciding goal, we were 3-2 up anyway. Going into that time, there's not a lot really to argue about. Give Rodrigo the glory, man. He loved every second.
Yeah, he deserved it. It was good to see him scoring again, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was.
Love the celebrations. But it's nice to see a referee go to the screen,
and
look at it, and then go, no,
yes.
Is that the first time that's ever happened in our favour?
In our favour,
probably in our favour. Yeah,
I think it's only happened once or twice in total.
Yeah,
where referees looked at the screen and gone, "I'm happy with the on-field decision. No, I'm not changing my mind." I'm delighted.
Some cojones to do that as well away at Molineux.
Yeah.
Well, he was. I mean, he was obviously neutral, but against the home side, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. What did you think of the general refereeing though? Because
he was awful.
that foul on Ailing, it was what? Sorry,
it was terrible. It was not.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was awful.
Dawson should have seen red in the first half.
Yeah, he should have.
How he didn't see the red first time on Ailing, that was a leg breaker.
Yeah,
exactly.
Awful decisions.
Yeah,
awful decisions.
The Dawson one, I was going to pick up on that. Like Wolves fans spewing and Lopetegu saying they're going to appeal every decision and all this. I'm like, what? Like you said, Dawson should have gone. Dawson should have gone for me for the challenge on Harrison. Why is that not gone? I don't know.
There's two different situations where he should have gone. The Harrison one,
the
he should have got a second yellow for sure, pulling on Bamford, which is a yellow card in the book. And the fact that he had him in a headlock and is pulling his jersey as well, you're like, that's
arguably a red card. You know, in rugby, any contact with the head, and he's in on goal, and he's the last man. In rugby, that's a red card. Contact with the head.
Yeah, it should be in football as well. If you leave
in rugby, how can that not be a red card in football? It is.
I know, I'm just saying that. This is like that pure like football tribalism. We're like, yeah, and if it were rugby, it would be a red as well.
It's still a red card. Yeah, I think he got a lot wrong for both sides. He dished out way too many yellow cards. I mean, I think he dictated the boiling over of that game because he was whipping out yellow cards way too easily for things that were soft. You look at the previous game that we had, and I actually thought the referee was actually really good in that game. He gave very few yellow cards. He tried to let the game flow as much as it could. He played advantage at every opportunity. This guy just kept blowing the whistle constantly and then just whipping out yellow cards. You go, this is going to boil over. This is going to get needly and it's going to boil over. And it did.
Yeah.
But our manager was nice and calm. None of this screaming, you're scared and all that.
You hear what he said to the subs? He turned around when their bench was going ballistic and Costa was whatever Costa was trying to do.
Did he get a red or yellow?
No,
the other fella got a red. Nunes got a red. Yeah. But he turned around to the Leeds bench and went, sit down, shut up.
Did he, yeah?
Who said that? Javi?
That's it. Turned around and told him, sit down, shut up. Yeah.
Love that, man.
Jess would have been in the middle of their dugout just swinging arms.
Yeah.
It's very Bielsa-esque, isn't it? I'm surprised he didn't tell him to give him a goal back.
Yeah, I know.
We'll take a player off, make it even.
No, honestly, the guys... Yeah, don't, man. I'm falling in love with him. Don't
give Joe hope. Don't give him
hope. I love him, man. I love him to bits. Hey, God. And you're talking about him genuinely. I can feel it. I'm like, oh, no, it's happening again. Yeah, penalty then. Kate, penalty to Wolves, yes or no?
Remind me when that was again.
Fairport.
No,
too much Merlot on a Sunday night.
She's half sheets to the wind.
I've been celebrating.
Half sheets to the wind.
I don't think. No, I don't. Well, I think you are.
I was going to say half cut on sheets and I put them together. I went, she's half sheets to the wind.
Leeds Forever's just said Joe's in love. You're getting all tongue-tied now.
Exactly, yeah. Luke, penalty. Oh, go on, Kate.
No. I don't think it was.
Move on.
But
no, it wasn't. No, not for me.
Firpo got to the ball first. There was very little contact anyway after Firpo touched the ball. I don't even see where the argument was, to be fair.
No. I think Firpo kicks the ball. Actually, I think he swings his leg, misses the player, and the player kicks the ball off Firpo's foot, and then it goes go boom. It's a little tiny little nudge. There's no contact with the player, but you wouldn't have been shocked to be seeing it given against us, though. Yeah, and
No,
also
you've seen it.
if that's a penalty,
No, because when you watch that back, it could be. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, but a split decision, it could have been given.
Yeah. Did it go to
VAR? Again, you look at overruled. But if you look at last week's one with Rodrigo, like arguably Rodrigo gets taken out and the other player picks the ball up, not the player tackling him, and arguably that's a penalty. So if Rodrigo's isn't the penalty, then the one on Firpo's not a penalty either because there's contact with the ball. So
it's the whole clear and obvious in it as well, Joe. There's no, the referee hasn't made a clear and obvious mistake there. Firpo hasn't gone through him and then got the ball. He's actually got the ball, and there's there's very little contact. So
your heart does jump up to here though when you see Firpo swinging his right foot at anything or a player, specifically a player. Like you just go, please don't.
Yeah. It makes a change to. It makes a change to us just as heart being up to here when Firpo's on the pitch, I suppose.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, lads! I thought I'd kicked out then or something. And ladies, sorry. Everyone just went silent.
It did, didn't it, Harry?
Little tumbleweed going across the screen. There.
We all just went, yeah.
Christ.
Brilliant. Oh man, what was it? I've lost my train of thought now. It's all gone a little bit pear-shaped, hasn't it?
So who thought that we were going to who thought at 3-2 we were going to lose? We were either going to lose or draw.
Yep, 100% thought we were going to blow it. Yep, right in there.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Yeah.
100%.
I
made a stupid decision of saying a 3-0. This is over now. Like, surely we have this now. We're not gonna, And the second I said it, I was like, you're an idiot. This is going. Now it's going. Then it started happening. Like, here we go.
I never felt comfortable even at 3-0.
No,
really.
No, I didn't. And
not
especially
that early on, no.
Especially when it was only 2-0 and they brought Rasmus on Fononto, and I knew they were then moving to 5 at the back. I knew that was going to, for half an hour, up to half an hour, we're going to be inviting pressure. At very least half an hour, inviting pressure on us. They were getting in behind. They were causing us a few troubles with Traore down the right. He was getting some crosses in, decent crosses as well, quite a few of them. And I just felt, even at 2-0, and then Rasmus scored in his first touch after that substitution, 21 seconds, I think they got it down as he's been on the pitch. And I still didn't feel comfortable after he'd scored that.
Really? See, in my mind, they've scored the least goals in the Premier League. So when Ailing got the second, I'm on watch along going, yes, that's it. It's in the bag.
Come here.
I've never learned.
Before the game, it was none of their strikers have scored all season. And then Cunha scores, you're like, see, it's just going to keep happening, isn't it?
Just on Matheus Cunha, his reaction, he was dying to win that game. It was like, I don't know, just obviously was linked to Leeds, etc. And there was that bit where the fans kept the ball from him and he jumped into the fans to get the ball. And when he scored, he was giving it so much. And I thought, all right, mate, like what's all that about? Do you know what I mean?
Didn't want you anyway. I finished you first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what that was about.
He actually mouthed. I don't know if I don't speak very good Portuguese or Brazilian, whatever it is to speak. But when he got the ball back, he was running back to the pitch. He turned around and muttered what I thought was puta, which is quite an offensive word in their language. Yeah. So to the fans, so he was getting a bit of stick anyway, I think. But yeah, I think he really enjoyed that, and their fans lit up then as well. To be fair, they lit up.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're good fans. I think to be fair, Wills. I have listened to a few of their podcasts today while I was out walking the dogs. It's funny, bro. It's so funny, Joe. Like just listening. It's just nice to win a game of football. This is what I mean. Like by this morning, I was like, I'd run out of things to listen to. Do you know what I mean? I'm like constantly refreshing podcast feeds and that, thinking, who can I listen to next? Because it's just like, it's just good when you win a game of football. Do you think it's right, the right time for the international break, even though we've won a game of football? Yeah.
It gives us the chance to start working on the stuff that Gracia wants to actually work on. Right now, as we said, there's an element of firefighting about what we're doing. He's kind of trying to but who's next, right? How do we stop them playing and then try and nick something? I think he'll take 2 weeks now to try and work on as much as possible. I hope as many players as possible either pull out of internationals or come back, early, to give him a chance to get it right. But you know, the bulk of the back four should probably still be there. Although Vober's going to go, but I don't think we need to work on Vober. I think it's the other defenders need a bit more work. But
it's Christensen we need to work on, and he's
backing off now as well.
I think the only negative in that for me is Palace will get somebody in that time as well and have a bit of time with them.
Potentially.
Did you see this?
Roy Hodgson, though, innit?
76 years of age, and they're looking at Roy Hodgson. Yeah, you're like, wow.
Going back to Roy, I think it's mental. Like, it just makes you think that.
But is it mental till the end of the season, though, Joe?
Well, he went to Watford, though. He went to Watford and he bombed there, though, last season. Yeah. But he knows Watford the Palace squad and that. So, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe. Listen, Palace have a good squad.
They're poor, though. They were poor.
Yeah,
today.
They are.
So poor.
They are. They are.
Zaha, lazy, absolute lazy. Yeah. They're struggling, you know, and they look a team just devout of ideas and confidence, completely on their asses. They were.
Second half of the
season, they were playing
a bit like us after Jesse left.
Yeah.
He's been linked with it as well, pretty heavily as well. He's to get it. Yeah.
Give him the job, please.
I think the Athletic did a bit of work on this, and they have a stat that basically says if you change your manager at this stage of the season, you either stay exactly where you were or you finish worse off. So they've kind of missed the point where it actually makes a difference. But I said it weeks ago, if you look at their form, and form is so important when you get to this part of the season, come into the last 10, 11 games of the season, your form is massively important. And Southampton have usually been the team every season that at the turn of the year happens, they're dropping like a rock, but they leave it late enough to kind of finish 4 or 5 places above relegation, pretty comfortable. Palace have started dropping earlier, and I think they're like 4 defeats in a row, no wins in 5. To me, they look like they're in big trouble. And the change, even Paddy McCarthy taking over, the change this weekend didn't look at Arsenal, just wiped the floor with them.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So I think they're in big trouble. I still think Bournemouth are scrapping for their life, Southampton are scrapping for their life. I think there's enough in those two teams to think that maybe one of those two will actually get out of there, and one of the teams above them will get. We're not out of this either yet. Like, it's great.
No.
We've got Arsenal.
Get carried away.
I think they get a result next week. All of a sudden, the table looks a bit different, but the points total won't, and that's the important.
Yeah. I think for me, there's a big possibility looking at the fixtures that Leeds United could end up back in the drop zone after Arsenal, because I think Arsenal will beat us. I do think they will beat us. They're just too good. And I just hope people don't lose their minds, because I think there is a lot of games down there. Teams play each other. So like Bournemouth, I think Villa play Bournemouth, West Ham, something, or Forest, West Ham. Anyway, a lot of them play each other. And there's a big chance, you know, if they win, that Leeds United will drop back down the table, because there's literally 2 points in it. But I wouldn't worry too much, because like I say, we've then got 2 massive home games after that. So, listen, it is what it is. I did get giddy yesterday, but I think I do believe we're going to be all right. And since Javi's come in, you know, the points tally, the return,
safe pair of hands,
definitely safe pair of hands. I think,
and a clever guy. You know, he's clever. Yeah. He knows. He just gives this sort of feeling of he knows what he's doing. He's good at sort of assessing the opposition without sending someone down to spy on them, do you know?
yeah. No, he is though. And do you know what as well, Kate? He'll have now 14 days, whatever it is, to come up with a plan for Arsenal.
Exactly.
You know?
They're due a loss.
Yeah. No,
they are.
They tend to wobble, don't they, every now and then?
I won't write them off. I'm write us off against them. I think we could get a draw at least from that.
I hope so.
And like you say, he's got 2 weeks. You've got to believe.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But, I do believe, Kate. Yeah, we're going to beat him. I just look at Saka, Martinelli, Trossard.
Oh God, Jesus, no! Saka's having a
Luke Ayling tackle down that right side last year. Jesus Christ!
My God! But again, that was Jesse. Jesse was sending them out like Trojans, man.
Yeah,
he was going. Honestly, he was going. How many fouls? Do you remember? Yeah, man. Like mentally though, like just proper. Like, come on! Luke Ayling's just gone snap.
Just jumped 2 foot, didn't he?
I think you'll see something very similar to the Brighton game, though, because they play very similar to Brighton. They play from the back. I think you'll see Javi go with a pretty strong mid block and just kind of hope to just don't let them in behind. Make sure you're compact. Again, make sure you're compact. But Arsenal will try with the spacing behind the corners, or if they can get in around the back of you, that's when they're at their best running at you. If you can frustrate them for a bit, maybe they will wobble a little bit. And
the fans can easily turn at us.
Of course they can, yeah. And also the set pieces we're working on seem to be working. Rock's delivery for Ayling's that's a really good goal because Ayling just
that was a great goal.
Ignores the cross completely and just makes the run that he's rehearsed.
I love that.
Doesn't even look. And Rock's delivery is perfect. And it's a lovely goal. But I think you might nick something on one of them as well.
Yeah.
What about the midfield yesterday?
I thought they were good. I liked Rock and McKennie together. I thought they were okay. I didn't notice them that much, which is probably a good thing. I think it was like 25 minutes into the game before I noticed McKennie, which is not a bad thing. It either means that there's nothing happening in there.
Yeah, I think Ruben Neves bossed it though. Ruben Neves. This is what I don't understand about Lopez. Yeah, I thought without Neves in that Wolves side, they're rubbish.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about Neves yesterday, we restricted him in our half. A lot of time when he picked the ball up was on the halfway line. He was playing like a bit of a quarterback, and I think we had a bit of a game plan. Let him play it from there because the only thing he could do is play a long ball, which is difficult to control. The success rate is relatively low, but when he's got the ball sort of in our half, we press him and we don't let him have time on the ball. And you saw he was having to play backwards when he was in our half. So apart from that shot he had that missed by a cat's knacker head, you know what I mean? It was pretty close. Like you seen him score them before, but yeah, I thought the game plan worked really well in terms of McKennie and Rocker. Honestly, the amount of work and running they did yesterday was unreal.
Yeah. Did we miss Adams?
I don't think so.
Not particularly.
Because I don't think their goals came from. Again, I don't think their goals came from us doing badly in midfield. I think they came because we changed the shape and just didn't adapt to it quick enough. I think that's where the goals came from. I don't think we missed that. But that's a good thing to have 3 players in there that can all rotate around, keep them fresh. And I said it weeks ago, I thought Adams was desperately needed a break. Maybe if he got the break a bit earlier, he wouldn't have pulled his hamstring. But I thought he was starting to look a bit leggy. So it's good to have the option of the 3 to rotate them around. And if he wants to play the 3 of them in there together, they'll all do a job and they'll work well in there. So I think it's a good place.
I agree. I have missed some super chats. I did start them. I forgot to bring them up. My apologies. We'll get to them now. Colin Kerwin says, great game. Nerves all gone. Nice bit of luck and 3 points. Joe, great interview with Brian McDermott. Arsenal up next. Big challenge there. But after Forest, we could be on the right road. Thanks, everyone. Yes.
Great.
Yeah, because Forest lost, of course, don't they? They're looking a bit sort of precarious at the moment, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
The lowest now again.
Yeah. I can't believe, I don't know if you watched the game, but the penalty, man, he just stuck his arm. Like, what's he doing the last minute of the game? Like, he just handballed it. It was mental. Alex says, Joe, hit me up with a bombaleo before the stream is up, please. I'm just showering with all those Wolves tears. You will get one before the stream is done, bro.
I'll get my maracas out, shall I?
Yeah. If I speak, I am in trouble. Andy says, top show, Joe, with 3 excellent guests. I'm not guests, are they? They're on with me all the time. Sign them all up on 4-year contracts. Yeah, listen, if I was in a position to be able to pay them, I would. I'm barely keeping the lights on, man, for God's sake. Honestly, man, I'm sick of eating bloody beans and sausages, man, while the dogs are on sardines and that. It is what it is. It is what it is. Right, okay. I want to hear like a man of the match from each year's as we come towards the end. I know it's hard to pick.
God,
I'm going to give it Bill. I'm going to give it Bill. I'm going to go early. I'm going to give it Bill just because I love him and he gets such an unfair shake.
He does.
And I thought he was good yesterday. Really good. And he scored a goal. I don't know if he's the only player to score in the exact same day against the exact same day. Yeah.
We traded the 3 Rodrigo, Harrison, and
Rodrigo.
The 3 of them scored last year in that game, and again this year. And then
I know Rodrigo did. See, they both did the same celebration. Luke did the Robbie Keane,
and he slipped as well.
I know. And Rodrigo did the boot in the ball into the away fans.
The running man.
Yeah. So
this thing,
amazing.
Yeah.
Love that. So I've gone Ailing. Kate, well, ladies first. Go on. You go next.
Same for me. Absolutely. I could sit and watch his goal all night. I thought it was great the way he just nicked around and headed it. Yeah, and his celebrations, and he deserves it. His work rate and all the rest of it. Yeah, he worked great in the first half, but for me, definitely, it's
nice.
Loved it.
Nice, Luke.
Yeah, between 4, I put a tweet out when I got back last night, and because I couldn't pick anybody in particular.
Was that you who put that tweet out about man of the match? Because I replied to that. I didn't know that was you. All right.
Yeah, that's probably me, Kate. Anyway, I couldn't pick one. And anyway, I watched Match of the Day back and watched a bit of the game back this morning that I'd recorded, and I just I was going to give it to Jack Harrison first of all because of his turnaround and just the side before self, the character, everything else that he did in between, But then I sort of looked back and I thought, you know what, Mesley had a really great game. I almost gave it to him. And then the other two it was between was Warber and Koch, who were absolutely outstanding. But I think Warber was just pipped Koch to it for me. So it was just immense. He was almost like an unnamed captain yesterday. If you watched,
wasn't he just?
Yesterday. He was just directing players at 3-2. You saw him just talking to the players around him, even talking to Luke Ayling, saying, "Let's calm it down." Giving advice to the captain on the field. And for me, he made some really important challenges. Really unlucky with the deflection. All in all, a complete performance by a centre back and everything you want to see from one, really. So Warber.
Yeah, I like that. I'm very sentimental, and I always said this back four was fine. But having seen Warber come in, he's just gone, and I realise now. I look and say, "Oh yeah, Cooper is done. Oh yeah, this person." Do you know what I mean? Or okay, Strout maybe hasn't got the ceiling that we all thought he had. Like Warber's just boof, and it's like right, okay, that's a proper centre back. I really, really rate him. Joe,
same as everybody. I thought Jackie was brilliant on the ball, off the ball. I thought he did everything he had.
I think
to do.
He got official man of the match, didn't he?
Good, because he deserved it.
Yeah,
he deserved it. So I thought Max Warber was neck and neck with him again. Everything that everyone said. The fact that I liked Robin Koch when he first came into Leeds, and then Tony went off the boil a little bit. And with Stroke, I just think again needs a bit more time. He's still very young. He's still really, really young. And I think give these again centre halves don't peak till their late 20s, 28, 29 before you start seeing the best from them. So give him some time. But I thought Warber Robin Koch just goes about his business now and just gets on with the game. Doesn't look panicked, doesn't look rushed, doesn't look out of position. He looks such a solid player now. And I think Warber standing beside him has made a massive difference to that. So yeah, it's a toss of a coin. And then Bill as well, I had a really good game. I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Jackie was on the right-hand side with him, covering him. I think you saw what happens when you've got a defender that does the defensive work, where Creed didn't last week. I think you see the difference it makes, and he looked much more comfortable. So I give it to Jackie, but Warber and Bill and Koch and probably Melier as well are neck and neck. And it was the back line, outside the fact we can see the two again, but ignoring their mistakes, but ignoring that, I thought the back four looked really good.
Yeah. No.
So who is it?
Harrison. Harrison and all the back four.
And all the back four. Got it. Yeah.
Everyone. They all deserve it, especially. I'm giving it Javi, actually.
Cree was good when he came on as well. And
he was.
A lot
harder he was.
Yeah.
God, he was a
Was that because he conserved a lot more energy? Do we think he's not probably not fit enough to play first team football? It's a lot faster. He's a young lad. Yeah. Same with Willie Nunto yesterday. He struggled defensively a couple of times. We were caught out. And that sort of transition, we saw that in Firpo been under a bit of pressure on the left hand side.
Why aren't they fit enough though, Luke? Aren't they been training hard enough or what?
I think they probably are fit enough, but what I'm saying is that the step up from playing 21s or in a different country or, not playing regularly to playing in the Premier League is a massive, massive step.
Up here as well.
It's amazing.
Having to be switched on all the time and all that.
It's so demanding at that level, and it is mental fitness and it's concentration. When you start to get a little bit tired, the first thing that goes from your game is concentration. It's the first thing that you stop doing. Your brain starts getting all messed up. But I think it's a youth thing as well. They'll get better. They were excellent for as long as they were.
That, though, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no issue with that. That's what you have the bench for. You can swap them out when you need to. I wish Willie would just smile when he's getting taken off and shake the person's hand. Stop doing this with his head, because that's stop moaning at me. That's why
he's so adorable, though, isn't he? I mean, you just want to give him a great big hug.
He's class.
It's got to be something else.
I think the difference is as well. You look at they were outstanding players at the level they were playing at before. They could afford to be a bit lazy and probably get away with it because they'd change a game quite quickly and quite easily at the levels they've been playing before. They're almost like, you look at I'm going to use Lionel Messi as an example, he doesn't have to work that hard defensively. He doesn't, because he knows the ball's coming back at him. He's in a great team, and he's got that talent to be a level above. Now, they've come from that into the Premier League, and they're not at that level, so they need to work as hard as everybody else around them. And if they don't, it shows, which has become quite apparent, I think.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't think back to, like, Somerville was really good when he came on. I thought he caused Collins all sorts of problems, and he got himself an assist in it. So all in all, great performance. 4 goals on the road, 1 defeat in 4, 7 points on the board. Leeds United, hopefully, I mean, I'm saying it with chest, we will stay up, but I think we're going to be all right. I think we're going to be all right under the tutelage of Javi Gracia. We're just hitting the hour mark, so before we do leave, Luke, what's going on over on Ought to Know Better or OKB? I like when you say that earlier. I was like, yeah, I like that. OKB.
Most people still get it wrong. You've been calling us Ought to Better Knows for years or so. OBK? What's OBK? Not much, mate. We have got a show planned for Tuesday. We don't have a clue what we're going to talk about, but it's just a bit of a pub tap room vibe, so come along and have a bit of a chat with us in the comments. We'll get you involved.
I was in the tap room, this week.
You were. Good. Joe was there as well this week.
Yes, I was. Yeah. I did pop
Joe still to lose his virginity.
I've seen a few, just not live, but I have watched a few.
Kate, what's going over on? Tuesday. Make sure you check them out. Link is in the description to everyone's channels. I've seen a few people asking in the comments, so make sure you do just go down below and check that out. Kate, what's going on Leeds Birds Rants? Do you know?
I don't know. Yeah, it depends.
Right,
we'll be. Yeah, so I'm trying to get. What I said was, when I get to 2,000 followers, I'll start doing live streams.
Okay.
So we need about another 700 followers.
Right. Okay.
Subscribers. When I get to like 2,000, we'll do a few lives.
Nice. Watch this space then. Kate's doing bits, and it's nice to see female content creators, so keep smashing it, Kate. Joe, what's going over on the Daily Leeds?
It will depend on what's in the news, I suppose. The last couple of weeks, the calmness isn't great for content creation. Last week there was some days where you're like, there's nothing really to talk about. I think I took Tuesday off last week because there was no news on Tuesday. So, just daily news. I am planning on doing at least 1 live stream next week. I'm just working on what I want that to be on. So I'm trying to do something a bit different. So I'm still trying to get a couple of other people for some more interview stuff as well for the quiet times. But it's proven tricky. David O'Leary wants a lot of money to do an interview. A huge amount of money. Brian McDermott did it for absolutely nothing and couldn't have been any nicer. Had a lovely chat with him the day after the interview. Rang me. I just had a chat, and it was just really weird.
That's lovely. That says a lot about a person, though, doesn't it? Really,
he's just a really good guy. Really, really good guy. Told me some interesting things as well, but a really good guy. I'll share some stuff with you off here. But good guy. He's, I'm trying to get a couple more of them if I can. But
tell David O'Leary to go stick it up him, man. If he's been like that,
have to go through his agents, and then his agents. Well, tell us how much money you want to give us before we'll talk to him. Like. Nothing.
Outrageous.
Yeah, I was shocked at that, but been pretty tricky. Gary Kelly
he likes spending money though, doesn't he?
Does yeah.
He does.
Someone else's money though.
Yeah. Oh man, that stinks, doesn't it? That's happened.
Yeah, that made me feel a bit sick.
Yeah.
Every now and then somebody pops up out of the woodwork that I wasn't expecting and have a chat with them. So I'll see what comes up. I'm working on some stuff for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everyone watching this knows O'Leary's a knob. So that's all that matters, isn't it? let's just hope his agent's not watching this. Otherwise, it's gone up another couple of hundred. To be fair,
1,000.
what I've just said. Right. Listen, folks. Make sure you check everyone's channel out. Thanks as always for being here. I don't know what I'm going to be doing during the international break either. It's going to be brutal. I'll probably do some FIFA or Football Manager Leeds United streams. Watch this space.
I'll have you a game live, Joe. How about that?
I'll have you a game, mate. I'll take you on, mate. No worries. I'm rubbish, so you probably win. But we will play. We will play, definitely. Right, folks. Thanks for watching. And this is for Alex and his super chat earlier on. And we'll see you on the other side.